And we're back. So it turns out that you don't just need a charnel hall, you need either corpses or a heck of a lot of embalming supplies and the like. So apparently, I do not actually get a chance to study all of my spells, but that's okay, because it'll happen eventually. So, dear volunteers, I guess
Now you know what you need to study. You
that's
know, like
correct. That's correct. Technically, I could have known before, but I thought that it would be all right. But it has to be acquired in play, so I
time to
need
get
corpses
stabbing.
too. We'll see how that goes. We're really bad at this whole making bodies game. So, who is it that's at our door of volunteers?
Also, can I be annoying and ask our necromancer, like, how have you changed over the year? Or have you changed? Are
Ooh,
you, like, eerily the same?
Um,
ageless.
Let me think about that. Like I want to say, like, do you mean like in terms of physical appearance or like attitude or like what?
I guess, yeah, like, I guess either or. Like, I get, like, we've known each other some time now. Like,
Sure.
is there, like, a thing that you do now, like a tick or a habit that you've picked up or lost as you picked? Have you changed physically?
Um, yeah, I think I want to say uh I think I want to say that like I I think I probably like wear gloves. I wear a pair because I'm not being utterly weird, but like one of them is because like I took a bad necromantic spell, and one of the side effects is that like one of my hands like appears like bony and somewhat like, yeah, like it's extra pale and corpse like. Um and I think I like I said I probably have a goatee, maybe to quote or maybe to pay homage to Judd and Harper. There's probably like streaks of white in it, even though it looks like I'm way too young for that sort of effect. Like, again, it can come from like, exposure to necromancy and or like backlash from some sort of spells and whatnot.
Is
And
it a
I
good goatee or like a shitty wispy goatee?
I think it's good. Like, our lives are all right. I think I can afford a
Okay.
barber. Like,
I'm less curious about the barber and much more curious about your ability to grow facial hair. But like that's fair.
oh, I see. Yeah, no, I think it's just like a year later, and it's partially like a change in appearance, and it's partially probably to hide a scar or something. Like, who knows?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
like I
I
said,
love that.
It's like a
I
ghost fingerprint or something from where a ghost tried to grab you
no,
once.
I think it's just a straight up knife wound from fighting the thieves guild. Sometimes you're trying to be a cool wizard, and somebody just shoves a knife at you, like we saw in the last scene. So yeah, I think it's just, yeah, I think it's a sequence of things. Like, my clothes are slightly more composed and nicer rather than just like, but I still wear the same like ratty hooded cloak that we saw last time. But yeah, I definitely have like more things that appear as like trinkets and such. Like, I'll have like, bracelet with a sequence of like bone charms on it and the like, and you know that sort of stuff.
I
I'm just like more seasoned, I guess.
I love that you hide your scars. I think Morgan's the opposite. She's like, I don't know, I'm tatted up, like, but I don't really feel connected to my body. Like, whatever. I don't give a shit. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a different approach for characters. 100%. Yeah. Uh,
Anyway, sorry.
no, that's actually a really good point and really cool. So yeah. Um,
Now we need to know who opens the door, or who is at our door when we open it.
I think there is like there is a metallic quality to like the knocking on the door. It doesn't sound like it's a hand. And you like who goes to open the door?
I can get it. Unless you want to learn, which is fine.
Uh, so that sounds. You can totally get the door.
Yeah. So in which case, oh god, like this is perfect. You open the door, and mirroring the necromancer is the ex-soldier who has been using like the hilt of his sword to knock on the door, and mirroring Morgan standing behind is Kai, who also is more scarred and like more tattooed and badass than ever. I think perhaps her hair is like looks salt crusted now and kind of always does. Just like no matter how long since she's last been to the ocean, like I think you two have watched over the year as like her like weird like leader of the cult like side effects have like continued to like to manifest themselves.
Nice.
Also, while we're talking about how much everyone has changed, Gurn looks exactly the same, except his eye socket hollows are like a little bit more sunken in, and his scowl is a little bit like more graven deeply into his face. But other than that, Gurn's Gurn.
What do these two drink when they come over? What's their like beverage of choice? Do they get like tea or some form of hard liquor, or like what's the
or some like sea wine, seaweed wine.
Seaweed wine. Seaweed vodka.
Oh,
right? Like...
seaweed vodka would be so good. Like salty and umami. Oh yeah.
Shut your face.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it would taste exactly like vodka. Like, you could make vodka from any number of things.
There's not a lot of starch in that, though. But,
oh, thank God said, like, tea with hard liquor, which is...
Oh, it's seaweed tea.
Oh, right. Beautiful.
With hard liquor of some kind.
I think then I call back to Morgan something like, you should put the kettle on. But obviously for the two of us, it's like code, right? Like it's an indication of who's at the door without having to say their names.
Oh yeah, like Morgan just like, oh for fuck's sake, like I roll when like you're like time to put the kettle on. I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I go in, put the kettle on, and like get the cutlery out and get the tea. It's all very resentful, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I get out of the way and sort of gesture him in and indicate the table, close the door behind him, light another couple of candles or whatever to get better lighting in the room, and
I think Gurn like reclines his head slightly as Kai goes past and says, "Master Storeworm," and then she, on hearing where the voice is coming from, reclines her head slightly and says, "Gurn," because I think the two of them, possibly even despite the Necromancer's wishes on the subject, have struck up like a weird sort of like friendship.
Oh, totally. Nice. It's like when your ex is friends with like
like
one of your friends, and you're like, oh God, I hate this. Like, yeah.
Gurn is being contrary as always, right? Like,
love it. Yeah, and I think you settle down and sip some tea and make some small talk, and then get to business.
I think I serve the tea just before we get down to business, and I think I like put a hand on Kai's shoulder and smile very sweetly and say, "I spat in yours just for you." Like, clearly joking, but am I?
I'd expect nothing less from family.
I got kind of a double pat on the shoulder at that, and then like sit down.
Oh, can I make it sad, everyone? I have a touch I'd like to
totally.
add. I think we caught a brief glimpse of a third person who's like standing watch outside. Because like obviously like the head of the Thieves Guild is not going to come here with just a bodyguard. They also need a spotter. And it's the kid from not last session, but the session before.
Yeah.
Oh,
Morgan,
nice.
The kid who Morgan tried to get out of this life, who was just like, "Go fuck yourself, you condescending piece of shit."
Totally.
And yeah, I think they are now like a like a junior member of the Thieves Guild in like full standing. And we just like get them like out in the street with their like proper like finished tattoo now.
Yeah, totally.
Love it.
Watching everyone, watching for danger.
Luke, do you want to like role play as the soldier giving the mission brief, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, do you think Kai gives it herself, or do you think she like that's why she has like a soldier to do these things for her?
Oh, either way. I mean, whoever you want to be. Yeah.
I'm down. Who do you want to play?
I don't care. Let's just do it. Go for it, and I'll
All right, cool.
jump in with
I'll be
whoever.
Kai. I'll be Kai. You be the soldier.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, and so I think like Kai like takes a sip of her tea, and like sets it down on the table, and says, "Cousins." Because I think over the course of this year, she has taken to humoring you with this found family thing. But of course, the extension of that, of course, means that the Necromancer is also her cousin now.
Oh, totally. It's like they sort of like slip across the teacup when she says it, like, I know what you're fucking doing. Like,
and she's just like, cousins, your family has need of you again. I have a job that needs doing, that requires a rather particular set of skills.
I think I gesture to like my dear friend the Necromancer when you say that, because like, it's clearly not me. Like that would be too respectful for Ruby.
I mean, there's nothing to say. I think Necromancer just gives him a weary look, like, yeah, I know the drill. Like, yeah, I don't even have to use words. This is we've danced this dance before.
There is an object that I need retrieved. It is not a small object, nor is it without many wards and guards of a peculiar sort. Have either of you ever had dealings with the wizard?
Couple times.
Devol of the Placid Sky?
Is that the Star Butcher?
No, that was Kendavan the Sky Eater.
Oh, the one that appeared
the
in
local wizard.
Yeah,
who
yeah,
took
yeah.
your gold
The one that appeared.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we don't know what he did or how he did.
Well, that's true. We don't know.
As
what
a matter
he
of
did.
fact, Strash's opinion is that he may still be hiding said gold, but we don't know.
That's entirely possible.
So yeah, I think I say I know of him.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think like Kai like gives the soldier a thoughtful look, like, I will be blunt. He has the heart of the storeworm in his tower.
It's the dragon your guild worships.
It is the god of the city. He drinks its blood like a leech, and his power grows fat and bloated upon it. That is unacceptable. And I think she just kind of like, as though she's just told you everything that she needs to know, she just kind of like picks up her tea again and like takes a sip. Like, and I'm done explaining.
I clock the thief and then I say, like, do you want us to steal the heart or do you want us to do something to the wizard?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
But the former is more important than the latter.
Morgan, how do you feel about this?
Oh, I think we get that nice shot of like sort of Morgan's worm tattoo. It's like she lifts her cup to like drink from it.
I think okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think when she says this, you can maybe clock. She means like we don't really have a choice.
Sort of. I'm about to make a bid, but go on.
Oh yeah. Okay, great. Then that in that case, the look Logan gives you, it's for sure that thing of like the eye roll of like we don't have a choice. Like.
All right. Look, here's the deal. you know the drill, and we know the drill. When anyone does a job in the guild, everybody benefits to some extent, right? The kids take money off the streets, everybody gets a cut, tide all ships, all that nonsense. Stealing a heart is no profit. Getting the enmity of a wizard is no profit. This is a waste of time, and this is a waste of our skills. I don't give a crap about your weird religious failings. So if you want us to do this, you're gonna have to explain to me exactly why we should do this.
Is there a...
Nope, that's not an exertion. Yep. There is no convince a person of a thing.
Yeah.
It's I am literally saying, hey, look, if you want us to steal money, then we get a cut of the money. The money is the obvious prize. But what you're saying is, please steal a thing that I value and you do not. We get nothing out of this other than risking our lives in a very dangerous endeavor. I'm gonna need something. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think the soldier chimes in with he says he's been throwing money around. We think it's the money that actually led you to us a year ago. So if you need a little something extra to motivate you, there's that.
So what you're saying is if we give you the heart, we get to keep whatever else we find?
Well, after you give your cut so that the rising tide can, float all the boats and all that. You know how it is.
Morgan snorts at that because rising tides drown prisoners as well as rising ships.
Totally.
Yeah, and I think Kai smiles and says, "Yeah, whatever little wizardly diaries you'd like to steal," and she's just like addressing the necromancer directly, but just looking at Morgan. And having a little staring contest. It's just yeah, whatever little diaries you'd like to steal from the wizard, we have no interest in. We'll take our cut of the gold. We'll take the heart, and otherwise, I don't much care.
I think as they maintain eye contact, Morgan just the really tight, grimacing smile of I hate you, and just pours more tea in her cup.
Yeah. And she just very pleasantly smiles at you over the rim of her teacup. It's cousin, this is very good. You've figured out how not to oversteep it. Well done.
Thank you.
You know what? Let me. I'm gonna have to ask I want to ask the volunteers what our relationship is like, but I'm gonna do it in the same fashion that I'm gonna do it fictionally, right? And I think that I think what I say is yeah, I push my luck, right? I say okay, but now you're gonna tell me how you're gonna sweeten the pot, because if you really want this heart retrieved, and you really only have 2 people that have a chance of getting it, because only one of the people on your payroll actually can see all the wards and traps the wizard has laid out, then yeah, how do you make this deal a little sweeter for us? And what I'm fishing for here is something she might let us off the hook, right? She might give us a bigger cut. She might promise us a place in the countryside of our own. Whatever the volunteers think is fine. But I'm also down with, insert 80s stereotype, boss slams hand on desk and tells me that
her eyes shift to the place in your shoulder you got stabbed a year ago.
No. All of this is good. It's just I'm trying to figure out where we stand, right?
Yeah, where do we stand?
Judd, Luke, how do you folks feel?
The answer was you did fight alongside her and the soldier, when the other guild and the necromancers came, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she
Lauren, back me up here. I'm mostly staring at. I know you can't tell, but I'm staring at your little image in the corner here.
No, I think you're right. I think like I just am so into this conversation because like having my blood family more interested in communicating with the necromancer, I feel like it's such a dig that Morgan's like, oh fuck you. Then like I just won't say anything. I'll just sit here and be the quiet, like hospitable house guest. um
Yeah, but you're my friend, right? And I care about you definitely more than I care about the woman sitting across from me, right? So
yeah.
I'm fascinated with how this has brought out the worst parts of Morgan. Like this is just like Morgan is like who has been kind of a ray of sunshine through the whole thing is suddenly like spitting in people's tea and like being like quiet and taciturn and passive aggressive and shitty. Like she's just like this is clearly
with
not
her family,
been good
right?
for her mental
Like...
health. Yeah.
Definitely. Like this is for sure like regressing to like her mental state when she left when she was a kid, and it's like she just can't break out of that like
salty
mentality.
teen Morgan.
Yeah. Like she probably did oversteep the seaweed tea on purpose like the first couple of times or something. Yeah. But yeah, I think like for Morgan in terms of what we can get out of this job, I think like if we can get something that will help you progress your skills and talents.
Money will do it, because there is a spawning circumstance for acquiring stuff that's basically a superficially easy thing. I also need corpses. And a wizard grimoire and wizard stuff.
She'll provide a corpse. You just gotta like say the word.
Yeah, but that's not how I do, right? So
okay, I'm just saying.
I know. People volunteer to make corpses, but I'm like, look, I don't actually
need to make it myself.
I don't. It's not that. I really don't need corpses that died of unnatural causes. That's not a requirement. So I can just get somebody that died normally, and it's okay. Just their family might be a little upset. It's fine.
And
all right.
I think over the past year, Morgan's like gotten weirdly more into necromancy, like not in, like the practice of it, but kind of like this is a thing I can focus on and we can do, and it feels productive, like.
You and I definitely still need to pick up that conversation about finding out people's innermost thoughts or whatnot, because Gerd can actually tell me secrets about people at some point.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
I remember we had that discussion in the Wizard's Tower after the illusions.
Yeah, I think Kai like sets the teacup down and says two things. One, and she like she ignores Morgan. She talks about Morgan, not to Morgan. So looking at the necromancer, she says, I know Morgan doesn't overly get along well with old Civet downstairs, who owns the shop. We'll have someone buy him out and find you a landlord more to your taste. But more importantly, once we have the heart back, the store worm will rise. Not.
Do you mean that literally or figuratively? I do have to ask.
Yeah, she kind of like laughs, and she's like, no apocalyptic shattering of this, none of that. But we will be in command of the seas and skies around this city as we were in ancient days. And that will mean a great deal of money for the guild. And therefore, as members of the family, for both of you.
What do you say, Morgan? Couple coin more?
Couldn't hurt.
Sounds like you have a deal. All right, I think we have a spawning circumstance actually for charging a wizard something.
We sure do. I mean, I'm curious about like there is a version of this where like we keep playing this scene, they leave, and the Gurn soul scrying thing that we've been talking about like happens now. Like we could always fucking do that if we're excited about the prospect of that thing.
I mean, it's up to you. And when I say up to you, I mean Lauren. Lauren, what do you want to do next? What are you interested in?
That's so good. I feel like I'm always down for more Garrett. So if you
That's
would
what this
like
game
to,
always needs.
if you would like to partake in scrying immediately after this conversation, I think that'd be kind of cool to do over some seaweed tea.
Yeah.
You can also just go and head straight to the wizard.
And it feels like there's a version of that that makes sense, right? In the way that, like, the last time you went into a wizard's tower, you were confronted with the dark inside of your own psyche, and you're about to do it again. And so,
Yeah.
maybe beforehand this time, let's do some therapy and like check that everything's kind of okay up there.
Oh, definitely. I'll say this: like Morgan has this suspicion that what was shown to her in the wizard's tower is somewhat prophetic, because
Oh my god. Does more tattooed, more scarred Morgan like look not the same as, but like
On the
are there
path
some,
too.
yeah, are there some definite visual callbacks of like a couple of the tattoos, match tattoos that like Crime Boss Morgan had?
oh yeah, like I think like I think that Morgan had the worm tattoo put on her arm as like it was kind of an insulting way of saying you've got to like work your way quite literally up to like having this more prominent tattoo. So I think there's like the wisps of like that worm tattoo continuing like up here just a little bit. So like if she does a bit more work for the guild, they might be like, oh, good job, you earned your neck tattoo. Like so I think we do see those like the foreshadowing of like that could be a thing. So Morgan's like, oh god, should I have hung around more? Should I have like stuck around to see what this is about? Is this prophetic? Like, oh my god. But I don't think she's necessarily shared those thoughts with her friend.
And the dark future reflection of the Necromancer you saw definitely had the goatee. Like,
oh, definitely.
for sure.
Oh, the darkest timeline, of course. My bad.
Is the worm tattoo reaching back to your old family tattoo on your back and choking it?
In my mind, like it's totally like heading in that direction of like they're about to sort of embroil. Like the more Morgan does with this family, the more it's like it's gonna be choking out the
awesome. Love it.
Sick.
Love it.
But yeah, I think like Kai like, right, like there's no real pleasantries. Like Kai's like, great, you've said yes, excellent. Like gets up, and heads out with the soldier. I think we maybe get like a long beat of eye contact between the young spotter and Morgan in the doorway. For Morgan to regret her inability to turn around the lives of other people trapped in this
totally
terrible career, and then the kid just kind of like whatever's you and like fucks off.
I feel like Morgan like he like leaves and Morgan's like, oh, like pulls a finger at his back for like a few seconds, and if he looks around, she's like, oh, and then to the scratches.
Can't let them see that they're getting to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Gurn, like, so the Necromancer is like behind Morgan as she's flipping off everyone who just left.
I think I'm actually like picking up the cups and cleaning up our little sitting area or whatever. But
I think Gurn is like shaking his head and being like, Morgan's regressing. She's not doing well. I don't care about her, mind you, but
it's not like I like her. Yeah, go on.
Well, like I do have to notice, like he does use her name now, which like
right.
That's progress of a kind.
That is totally true. I slipped, but I like it. Yeah, I think he says.
I think Gurn slipped too, right? Like
yeah. He's I'll stick by that. Yeah, Morgan's regressing. This city has not been kind to her.
The Necromancer says nothing, just continues picking up cups, but looks concerned. I think he washes the cups, puts them in whatever version of a dish rack is, probably a towel and because I'm pretty sure they do not have advanced plastics or wireframes here. And then, I asked Morgan, I'm like, so do you want to talk about the job?
I think like yeah, Morgan sits back down and like picks up her seaweed tea. I think takes a sip and grimaces a little bit because it's a bit salty, and I don't think she likes the taste. But she's not gonna show her family that she doesn't like the taste of their preferred tea. And
You can't show that weakness.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, sure, let's talk it out.
All right, so I think, I mean, unless you bring up something different, I think that there is a montage where we put things down and research stuff and you know, like, go peeking at whatever the wizard's home is, whether it's a tower or a house or whatever it is. So yeah, like, do you stop the conversation? Do you ask anything else? Because otherwise, you know, the necromancer's gonna pretend everything is business as usual, right?
Yeah, I think Morgan does have some questions. Because the last time he tried to go up against a wizard, you were like, nope, we're out. Like, we're, you know.
That's true.
And I think she asks, well, what are you worried about? This isn't, you know, like taking out my ignorant cousin who really sucks at, you know, like God, you know, like fighting or whatever. This is like a big deal. I didn't know anything about what you do.
So I'm guessing that we've fought together in at least a couple of these like thiefy type things, and I think I'm gonna say like just calling back to some of the stuff that we've done in that particular scenario. I think I'm gonna say I think this is gonna have to be as it is as usual. Most wizards protect their, you know, seclusiums in different ways, but I think that I'm just going to have to keep both sets of my eyes peeled, and we're going to have to react the way that we are wont to do. You know, unlock the locks, dodge the traps, avoid as many of the spells and counters, and stick to the more mundane means of entry and egress. Most wizards are far less concerned about mundane problems and far more concerned about wizardly problems. Like, they're worried about another wizard stealing something via a bound, you know, plasmid or something than they are necessarily a thief sneaking in.
I think Morgan like fixes you with like a curious look and takes a sip of tea. And I think like internally she's trying to like swallow down like a lump in her throat because this is like, I think this is the moment where she realizes how far you've come. Because I think when we first met and like on our first shenanigans, you were a lot more cautious and a lot more like, we'll just run away, or like you spoke with like a level of like naivete about the things we're doing. And like to hear you say like, we're gonna do that, da, 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 she's like, like, God damn it. I know what we're doing right now isn't perfect, but God damn it, am I glad it's with you.
I think that probably actually makes the necromancer smirk, right? Like, we get the sense that Garen is a lot more severe and a lot more like just kind of like serious about stuff. And yeah, I think he just works, and he goes like, "What brings this on?"
I think like Morgan goes through like the litany of things that she's experienced, like the regression and like feeling trapped and like all this kind of stuff. And I think rather than say it out loud, she kind of shrugs and says like, I don't know, I don't know. I guess something just came over me, but never mind. Let's get to it.
I Yeah, I think the necromancer just like doesn't poke it any further, but I think he considers what you said and sort of like thinks about it for a minute and then just kind of lets it go, right? Like uh yeah.
I think Morgan takes a sip from her cup and realizes it's empty and then sort of puts it down and says, I will ask one thing though. The one thing you didn't say is whether we should just stab the heart. And I mean, it may come to that.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't particularly care about the fate or the fortune of this city, necessarily. At the end of the day, I am not a patriot or somehow tied to it in an indelible way where my family has set down roots and I feel some deep sense of connection and community to the people here. I certainly have people that I'm friends with, and I certainly care about them, but I don't specifically care if this thieves group is in power or not, whether they can call to storms or not. So if we need to stab the heart, I leave that sort of decision to you. I think that at the end of the day, what I'm focused on is the same thing that any prisoner should be focused on, which is exactly what your means of escape are. And if this wizard has as much coin as they're promising, and the tools that I need to further my studies, then that is far more important to me than whatever shape the heart ends up at the end of the day.
I think like when you say to Morgan like that's up to you, I think we see like her that tattoo like tense as she like sort of tightens her grip around her mug. And I think even that conflict in her face, it's like she's climbing the ranks in this guild that you've just said like I don't give a shit about like if they sort of fall or not. I think Morgan has that instinctive like, oh, but progress, but like I could be at the top of this. We could change things, and then just sort of cast it off. And it's like, you're right. But it puts a fist on the table and is like, let's get.
Actually, no. Let's dig into this for a second. I think Garen actually like pauses and looks at you, and he goes, "Am I wrong? Do you care?"
And I think Morgan like has to look away and like bites the inside of her cheek and has to take a second. And then eventually looks back at you and says, I've always been of the firm belief that you cannot change a system from the inside. It might kill you, but the best thing you can do is throw yourself at it from the outside. But I would be remiss if I didn't fantasize about taking the reins of this fucking wild horse that they're running.
I mean, if this Thieves Guild is as much as a cult as Kai makes it sound, you certainly have the choice to control it if you hold the heart. Is this something you want?
And I think we lingered that silence for a long time. And
I think the necromancer just like takes your empty cup, right, and like washes it along with the other ones and just says like when he's done, he turns around and he just says, remember that the first lesson of necromancy is separating truth from lies. Like, you have to know if this is just a fantasy or not. But whichever way you decide, I'll back your play. I don't care about this heart. It's gonna have to be your decision.
I think Morgan like hides her hands in her lap and like we sort of get this elevated shot of like her sitting down at the table with like the candlelight. And she just is a very quiet like hey.
Cool.
While you're cleaning up.
So are we gonna go assault the wizard's tower here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
And can Gurn say something to you as you're walking away? Yeah, he says, if she takes over this crime family, she's going to be the most miserable person imaginable. And all of her happiness is going to be put onto you. And it's not going to be fair. And it's going to be a lot of pressure. She needs a moon priestess to help her with the things going on in her brain. They're the only priestesses who have ever been able to talk people through things and help them deal with the changes and the phases of life. And your friend is a hot mess.
Yeah, but Grin, she is my friend. And at the end of the day, it's not about what you want, and it's not about what I want.
What is it about them?
You are focused on my studies. I am focused on my studies, and despite my best efforts, I'm still not the best necromancer I know. Because Josh can't roll for crap. But but I think he just looks at Grin and he says, like, you can give your friends advice and you can tell your friends what you think, and maybe I do agree with you that this is probably not going to make her happy. But me telling her that is not going to matter if she doesn't realize it herself. They're just words.
Oh, are you a moon priestess? That was really good.
Why is everything with people religion these days? I think I'll totally cut it there if that's okay, Judd.
Yeah, that's great. I'm happy with that.
All right,
Yes.
awesome.
Moon Priestess is so good. It really ties into the sort of the phases and cycles that we go through in life, as well as the lunar phases.
The question we must ask ourselves is: was Gurn secretly insulting you and suggesting that you're
Who
not a
is
very
Gurn
good
secretly
necromancer?
not insulting everyone?
Well, it's been a year. Like, who knows, right?
Tell your volunteers that you've learned of a wizard who makes their seclusium near here, and you've decided, perhaps the necromancer knows why, of course I know why, to steal a grimoire from them. In our case, it's a grimoire and a heart and maybe a pile of money.
And maybe some oil of Eofre, right? Like, there's probably all kinds of shit in that tower.
And we know this wizard's name, and this wizard's name is Luke.
This is Vint Duval
Oh, one second.
of the Placid
Sky.
Sky. Sky? Yes, Sky, not Sea. That's the other one.
Sorry, I put something on the cat bed, and my one cat was beautifully making faces at it. All right. Is it Duval of the Placid Sky is what I heard? Is that correct? Vince Duval?
Duval.
Vint Duval. All right. Ask your volunteers the wizard's name, which we have done. Take the time to set the stage and then begin play by approaching the wizard's seclusium. Oh, Vince, you don't put us in the middle of fighting some sort of animate golem or wind elemental or whatnot. All right. So,
On that subject.
what does their seclusium look like?
Great question. Judd, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I liked the image that you had of the tower getting bloated too. I don't know. It makes me think that the tower looks kind of like a maggot.
Is it an
I like that.
actual giant crustacean that is clutched to the side of something, or does it just look like somebody who's done too many expansions without building up the base, and it just looks like
I don't hate
ribs
the idea of
clapped
it-
on?
Yeah, I don't hate the idea of it being that like classic medieval thing where like the top layers like overhang, but it's just kept doing that. So it's this kind of like upside down triangle shaped tower. But yeah, I'm kind of into Judd, the idea that there's something like, does it maybe look like the walls are made out of are grown out of shell? And like mother of pearl more than they are like built out of stone and mortar.
Sure. I'm down
But
with
yeah,
that.
there is something kind of like bulging about the contours of the shell, as though something like inside it is like growing and trying to like get out.
Okay.
Cool.
Uh,
Would you like to
friend, do you wish to do a?
senses?
I'm sorry, what?
Would you like to exert your necromantic senses?
Oh, that's
as
gonna
you
happen in
approach the
about 2
tower?
seconds. But before I fail at that, Thief, would you like to creep in along the streets, try to grappling hook our way in at night, or go underneath in the sewers through the old city and see if we can sneak in that way?
Oh, good question. Ooh. I feel like underneath the sewer system has to be a fun and scary way to exercise your necromantic senses.
Great. So I believe that we are traversing using the maps of the old city, possessing one of the keys to the gates that keep those areas locked, given to us by our thieves guild as a gesture of trust, I guess. And if it's all right, yeah, I guess before we breach the wizard's defenses, I will attempt to unveil my necromantic senses, which this is where things get sad. Are we ready?
Yeah, I picture us like beneath some kind of hole cover.
I actually succeed for once.
Yay.
Amazing. Cool. So good. I have necromantic senses for this portion of our adventures. Yeah, I can ask questions about what my necromantic senses reveal, and can directly perceive ghosts, and as a shimmer or a buzz, magical spells, subtle emanations, active plasmids, things made invisible by magic, or any other signs of wizardry. So, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to exert myself mentally. Let me double check if I need to re-roll.
Let me first just Judd.
Oh no, I just get to do it. All right, cool.
Let's just like pull back the curtain a little right now, because it sounds like one of the things that Strash wants out of this is a grimoire,
Okay.
which means that like I feel like a thing that would make sense for us to do is to like pick which grimoire that is, and like that gives us kind of like the shape of like some of the things that this wizard might be able to do and how they might have
Love it.
protected their tower.
Yeah.
So I have two candidates here, Judd.
Yeah.
Let me briefly pitch them to you. There's the 3 scrolls of Jorvelt of the Wild Crown, which has kind of like how would I describe this? It's got a lot of like acts of like small kind of practical wizardry. There's like some flying type shit. There's like some weird sacrificial charm type shit. You can enter into a compact with its perspicacious tutor, whatever the fuck that means. And then there is the red tome. Where are we? The red tome of Salabrusto the Wise, which is all about kind of like traveling, opening gates to like other worlds and like preparing yourself to travel through horrible dimensions full of fire and that kind of
Oh yeah, definitely the second one.
Okay, cool. Yep. I'm gonna chuck that in our private little
Cool.
chat for you, Judd, so that you can check that one out.
Thank you.
Sorry, everyone. Hang tight with me while I just
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah. Nice.
PDF. Yep. Okay, Judd. There's that. Yeah, I think one thing you definitely see with your otherworldly senses, Strash, just like straight out the bat, is that the entire tower is engulfed by a single massive plasmic entity.
Well, that's good. And by good,
Yep.
I mean not. All right. So what
Which
is this
is like
entity?
it's a snake.
Oh, good.
Like the coils of an enormous snake kind of like wrap around and partly like overlap the wall of the tower. It doesn't necessarily look like, it only looks semi-solid. Like it's not really a plasmid and it's not really a remnite. It's like the ghost of a plasmid, which like I think is a thing that you kind of like weren't previously aware could exist, but like that's the best guess you've got.
Okay.
It looks like something magical. Once there was a magical thing here, and this is like a ghost
An echo.
or a remnant, an echo of like a dead magical thing.
That's fine. That's less
yeah,
scary. An active magical thing can actually do things.
Can fuck you up.
This thing less scary.
But you're a necromancer, so like dead things can touch you. You know, like keep
Actually,
it in
not
mind.
sure about that 100%. They can definitely talk to me or see me. Well, actually, no, I can see them. All right. Well, I mean, it depends, right? Like, all plasmids become dangerous once they become active, but they only become active through, like, force of will or, like, wizards casting appropriate spells, which is what I'm looking for anyway, which may be happening here in a second. Are there any traps or wards, sigils, or anything else of the like?
I mean, the answer is almost certainly yes. Judd, do you have any ideas what kind of and what category of those it might be?
It would definitely be something called like the Scarlet Lock, right?
Oh, is this akin to a necromantic lock? Can I unlock this with my necromantic spells?
Yeah.
All right then. I was not expecting this, but this is exciting. Can I unlock the magical seal to the tower here? Well, actually, there is no. Can I? I can apparently. Let me roll my dice and see how it goes though.
Yeah.
And before I do that, I should probably read what the consequences if I roll poorly, because that seems to be a regular occurrence.
Do you have any more questions, Josh, or is that the one that you get?
I think I rolled a 1.
Okay.
So I'm looking for traps and wards. What do I see? You see the echo of a giant snake, and also a red lock. Okay, cool.
And the one other thing I would note is that there is how do you sense this? There is something over the door on the inside. Like above the door frame on the inside, waiting to drop down.
So is it a beastie? Is it a magical? Is it a plasmid?
It is magical. I don't know that like through the wall of the tower and through the weird giant ghost snake and through the magical lock. Like I don't know that you can tell detail, but like there's definitely something bad.
So is this lock a subtle lock, a profound lock, a forbidding lock, or a powerful lock?
Subtle or...
Yeah, what were the options again?
Yeah.
Subtle, profound, forbidding, or powerful?
Forbidding.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, if I don't pop this lock, I don't think we're opening this door, right? All right, this is fine. This is fine. I can do this. No, I can't. You know, 2/3 of the time I am supposed to succeed. If you aren't satisfied with the result of your roll, ask whether Gurn can help you and abide by the answer. So on a miss, the lock defies me. So obviously I'm not satisfied by this answer. Can Gurn help me?
Always.
Well, I suppose, Judd, what do we think happens? What do we think happens? What does it look like when the lock defies? Right, like if one tries to break through this door and the lock is not broken, what happens?
Yeah, I think the problem is that you're going at it like it's a necromantic lock based on the rules of the portals that lead to the lands of the dead here, but this is actually a lock that was on a door in another world that led to their dead.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I think Gurn explains to you that this is that there are things that you're assuming that are untrue because this is from an alien world.
Okay.
And so the rules of their dead might be different.
So what do you feel that warrants? Do you feel like that warrants another roll, or do you feel like I might be able to open it with Gurn's help?
I have a thought here.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I feel like the thing that makes this lock dangerous, is that even if, like, the way through this lock is not to break the lock, it's to travel through the lock. Like to step through, like to step through the place that it leads to the other side, right? Like to go in the keyhole through this strange otherworld's realm of the dead for a brief space.
So I have to ask, because I do not understand. What do you mean into the keyhole? I have no capacity to step into keyholes, because to me keyholes are about yay big usually.
Yes, but like through means of magic, right? Like,
yeah, I do not have spells like that though. That is not a thing I can do.
I suppose what I'm saying, Strash, is that like that is a property of this lock.
Oh, I see. So it's a magic item.
Is that like the lock holds a door shut unless one has the capacity to safely travel through a brief span in this other realm of the dead. And I think Gurn can absolutely help you do that if you let him drive your body.
I mean,
because he's not afraid of like being in the realm of the dead. That's not a psyche rending, soul destroying kind of like experience for him.
All right, so I think I very calmly look at Morgan and I say, so I have to die for a couple minutes in order to get through this door, but I think I can open it from the other side. On the other hand, there is something else on the other side, so when I open it, there might be a fight.
I'm ready.
Okay. In which case, take it away, Gurn.
And so here, Judd, I think we have to ask ourselves, like, what petty act of spite does Gurn take this opportunity to enact?
Oh yeah, Gurn can say whatever, like...
Yeah, like a gun's in the body, right? Gun's in the driver's seat.
What is Gurn can finally tell Morgan how they feel about her.
Oh shit, yeah. I think Gurn takes the driver's seat and turns to Morgan, right? And says, "It's time you and I had a talk."
Go. This is amazing.
And Morgan is like, okay, let's do it.
I mean, do we want to leave it there? Because like that's a pretty good.
No, keep rolling. I'm kind of loving it.
Okay.
I think you see in him what I see in him, that potential, that he has the ability to revolutionize necromancy and our scholarly art. And I think that special thing, we might not see it from the same angle, but I think we both see it. Which is the only reason I've come to respect you in the past year at all.
I think Morgan like strokes her chin and is like, I know that we don't talk often, but I do notice that there's a dynamic between you and I, where you think that I ought to feel a need to jump when you say jump, or ask how high when you give that request. And yet, I just don't really give a shit about what you think.
Perhaps that explains why, over the past year, and indeed in the time before that, you make so many unwise decisions.
And I think Morgan says, you know what? They might not be wise, but you can't contend that they aren't fun. Don't you feel more alive than you've ever been traveling with me?
No.
You're going to get him killed.
Says the dead gun.
You're going to get him killed. And I would never tell you to jump, because the only way to really get you to jump is to have your family tell you to jump.
Or tell you not to.
Oh, nice.
Ow!
I just need to know that we're working together towards the goal of making this young necromancer as great as he can be.
And keeping him alive.
I think Logan again is like, For starters, I may have a hand in his death, but your hands will likewise not be clean. I can guarantee you that much, and I don't even need to see the future or have any prophetic visions or anything to know that much.
Nice.
But more than that, yeah, I want to see Garen be great. Why would I hang around with him if I didn't want that? Why would I spend a year tolerating someone if I didn't enjoy their company, if I didn't think they could help me mutually? I mean, yeah, sure, my family's here and shit, but I could just leave. Why do you think I haven't just left?
Why would you spend a year just tolerating someone? I don't know. Your family did that to you for 21 years. You tell me.
Yeah, but you know what? You should ask that to Garen, because I don't think he's that happy with you either.
Garen, you mean, yeah?
Oh, Garen, yeah.
Yeah.
Garen is the Necromancer, right? And
Correct.
Gun is the, yeah.
Garen and Gun.
Yeah, I think, like, yeah, Garen, I'm sure tolerates you to some extent.
Garen wouldn't be free if it weren't for my teachings. So yes.
You're free? Are you serious? What about your relationship is free? Like, you can call it that whatever you like, but you're as much as my family is to me as you were to him.
No. Our mutual masters, who planted a lock of blue-green jasper in his brain that would have stopped his heart if he had disobeyed their commands. That's the family he left.
And I fail to see how that's any different to how you treat him currently.
Yeah, I think that gets I think that gets to Gern. Like I feel like
Well,
he
then
like
it's like-
walks he starts walking through the keyhole and he's like, it's very different. It's totally different. Like it you know, I think
You don't understand!
yeah. It's
I
not the
have
same
no
at all.
hands.
But
It's not the same at all.
I have no hands!
Like,
I was very frustrated about not being. I just like to flash back to like the start of this conversation. I just like to retcon throughout this entire conversation. Garen has just been like feeling the fabric of his clothes and like touching the rocks around him and being like, "Damn,
Hands are so good.
sensation! It's fucking wild! Like I can feel things again."
And Morgan feels so good. I think she's like been holding on to that like energy for a long time. When like, you know, Gern's like out. It's like, all right, let's have this conversation. Like I've been sitting
fucking
here
go!
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like just like totally different and like walks through the keyhole into another world, huffing and puffing.
Yeah, and I think that world that we get like a brief glimpse of, I think is like is a terrible desert of obsidian sand, and then a sky that is just like the stars are like so close it feels like you could reach out and touch them, and they all feel like great eyes in the darkness, like watching.
Nice.
And Gurn just like looks up, shrugs, and just like walks the like.
Oh yeah, but it's not just like he looks up and shrugs. He looks up at these eye stars along this desolate obsidian wasteland, and he's muttering to himself. He's like, she doesn't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like,
it's totally,
you know, he's just
totally different.
how dare she? How dare she?
How dare she? I could leave right now. I could just let him. Yeah, just like storms across the desert,
Yeah.
and then like, you know, finds again some invisible fold in like reality, and like steps back out the other side of the keyhole.
I have to ask you, Strash, does your character like hear this? Are you
No,
like,
I think actually, because I don't have a spell for Gurn to ride my body, I think it's actually very concrete, which is, you remember how I mentioned that now Garen carries a number of like necromantic doodads and whatnot, and I think that it's like one of those moments where like we see him like twist a ring and like open it, and like two small like pellets drop into his hand. One of them is like bright red and one is white, and then he
right.
takes the red one, right, like, and sits
The
down
poison
and like
antidote.
a poison antidote, right, exactly. Hey, my favorite little quest.
So I think, yeah, you like he pops out the other side. And I think a good place to leave it, because it looks like we're close to time, is I think, like, you know, Gurn like pops the white, you know, takes the white pill, and like Garen, like groggily feeling like shit, comes back to consciousness, and just like hears like a drip sound and a little droplet of like, it looks kind of like oil. It's like black and opalescent, but it hits the like cobblestone next to your foot and starts to like fizz and eat through the stone, like it's just like not even there, and just like you look up and there's just like, yeah, this like big mass of like horrible black oily stuff hanging over the door, the inside of the door, just like dripping away. And that feels like a good place to leave it, maybe?
very cool.
Sure.
Love
Yeah.
it.
All right. So is that it for our session? I do not. I'm not keeping track of time probably as directly as I should, but I think that's about right.
Yeah, it's like
I
half,
think so.
half
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So do we wanna let's do some outros. I'll kick us
The
off.
cat's like, yes, it's time to leave.
Yes, I she is one. I don't know if you can see it, but she's currently trying everything in her power. Like, she's really cute.
I demand.
She's being sweet and polite. Like she's actually trying to lick the back of my hand to get my attention. So.
Oh yeah, I secretly watch your background for when she's like, "Is now okay?" And then like
Yeah.
text his shoulder and it's like, "Oh, okay, I'll sit back here again." Now? Oh, okay, no.
She's not really good with time, so usually I get little pesters like every 2 minutes or so. So, but yeah, I promise, stream, I will give my cat plenty of cuddles right as soon as we're done. So cool. I've been Strush. I'm one of the regular streamers here. I play the Necromancer here, obviously. You can find me on Twitter at StrashA. And please stop eating my Necromancer sheets. This cat. She is determined.
On a Mr. Grimoire is consumed by a feline.
My cat. My
The
Necromancer
guardian
homework.
of the tower.
All right. Yes. I will give you treats in a minute. So hey.
Treats now.
Yeah. All right. So I have been Strash. You can find me on Twitter at StrashA. I use he/him pronouns. I'm going to let Lauren tell you about the game tomorrow while I deal with Kat and set up our outro page. So Lauren, please take it away.
Yes. Hello, I've been Lauren. I use she, they. I'm at TheStrayKiwi on Twitter if you want to follow me. I have TheStrayKiwi.com if you want to know more about my editing work and design work that I do for tabletop role-playing games. And tomorrow morning, I'll be playing a ancient robot person called Dipper on Scum and Villainy, which you should totally come and check out if you're around. Lots of fun, huge hijinks, lots of feels, family dynamics in space, and I really can't sum it up. Just come and check it out. I'll toss it to Luke for their outro.
Hello, I have been Luke. You can find me on Twitter at Wildwoods Games. If you would like to check out games that I have written, you can find those at gamesfromthewildwood.itch.io. And if you are interested in Redwall and pastoral fantasy and soothing slice of life games, you should go and check out Wanderhome on Kickstarter, a very good game that I was one of the editors for. So go check that out. Judd,
Hey,
take us out. Take us home.
Yeah, I'm Judd, he, him, and I've got a podcast called Daydreaming About Dragons. I thought it was a kind of slimmed down 20-minute, thing about gaming. But according to one of my recent reviews, it's a schizophrenic, panic attack that is too political. So that's cool.
It's
So
a what now?
Come see for yourself. Yeah,
Are we listening to the same podcast? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved it. I took a screenshot of it and like shared it with my friends.
Yeah, that's a pretty positive review, TBH. Like,
it was a 2-star. It was a good one.
Oh, holy cow! It's a 2-star.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good one.
Schizophrenic, too political show. Would listen to again. 2 stars.
It was a good one. So come listen. Decide for yourself. Daydreaming About Dragons. If you put that search term in your search engine, you'll probably get there. And if not, you'll have an adventure. Have fun.
All right, folks. With that, I believe that we are done with another episode of The Thief and the Necromancer, and I think, unless I hear otherwise, that we should be back in 2 weeks. So I guess in 2 weeks we're going to be dealing with. I really should write this down. What is the name of our wizard? One more time.
Oh, right. Vint Duval of the Placid Sky.
There we go. So we'll try to steal their grimoire and/or an ex-dragon's heart. So. See you folks too. Smooth outro.